Okay, so in this video, we're going to continue talking about string methods. We have about 4 more that we're going to discuss. Yeah, we'll try and do it all in this video. I think you can handle all 4 of these. So far you need to know about the length method. It's pretty easy. You put a string variable here. In this case, our variable is x, and it's storing the word typewriter. And then you say dot length bracket bracket, so empty parentheses. And this whole thing will give you the length of this string. So in this case, it's 10. Okay. We also learned about the char at method. So this method, you put the string variable first, and then a dot, and then the word char at, and then you put a number, you put an integer inside here, and it will give you the character at that specified index. So at position 3. Okay. And then last day we learned about the index of method. So this is kind of backwards. You put in a string and it tells you the index of where that string occurs. So it searches this string for an occurrence of this string, and if it finds it, it gives you back the index of where it exists. And if it doesn't find it, it gives you back -1, like in this example. Okay. All right. So and you can also use the index of method with 2 parameters. So you can put a string and an integer, and this is the start index. So we're going to search for this string starting at index 4 and going to the end of the string. So we're going to look for that. All right. If you need help with any of these methods, just be sure to check in with me, and we can do some extra examples. Okay. So moving along, there is a method called substring. And this method requires 2 integer parameters. So 2 integers need to go inside the parentheses. And what this method does is it returns the substring starting at index A and going up to but not including index B. Okay, so let's look at an example. So I'm going to have a fresh start here. I'm going to create a brand new variable. String course is assigned. Let's just do computer science. Okay, so if I were to print, well, if I just did that, it's going to, of course, print computer science. If I did course.length, it's going to print the length of this, which is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. If I did course.char at 1, it would give me little lowercase o. And if I did course.index of, let's say, put, oops, that needs to be in double quotes, then that would give me 3, because that's the index of where put occurs. Okay, it starts at index 3. Okay, but there's this other command called substring, and I'm going to put 2 numbers in here. So I'm going to put 0, 4. All right, so what this does is it basically grabs a substring starting at index 0 and going up to index 4. Now, the tricky thing here is that it's including the 0, but excluding or not including the 4. So it's going to take that one, position 0, position 1, position 2, position 3, and that's it. It won't actually take the character at index 4. So it goes up to and including that. So this code here would print COMP. All right. If I show you another example, so if I did course.substring 1, 3, so that is going to print. So it starts at index 1, which is here, and then it goes up to but not including index 3. So index 1, index 2, and that's it. So it's just going to print OM. Okay, so this is just a command that lets you extract a substring from the entire string itself. Okay, so maybe you just want the last word of a string, or you want to ignore the first character and just take the rest of the characters. Okay, so we'll see some applications of this in our exercise. Okay, one more example. You can also use the substring command by just putting one number in here. So if I just put 5. Okay, so you can either put two numbers in, a starting and a stopping value, or you could just put one number in, and what that does is it starts at that index, which I believe is here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so it starts at the T, and then by default it just goes to the end of the string. So this would print TER space science. Okay. Now, of course, we don't always have to print this thing. So you could create another variable, like string z is assigned course dot substring 3, 8, whatever. I'm just showing you that you don't always have to print these values. You could store them. You could store this to a variable, a string variable, and then do what you want. You could print it later or use it in an if statement or do whatever you need. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So the next method is one that you've seen before. It's called the dot equals method, and this allows us to compare two strings. Okay, so if I make a string, let's say A, and that's going to be apple. And if I have another string variable b, and that's going to be apple. And then if I print a dot equals b, so that's going to compare this string variable and this string variable. And if they're exactly identical, the same characters, then this will print true. Okay, but if one thing is off, if I make another variable and call it apple with a capital A, then they're going to be different. So if I just copy this, and if I do this again, but this time I'm going to say A dot equals C. So now that string compared to that one, they are not equal, and that's going to print false. Okay, so they have to be identical in order for this to work. So it's not comparing by length, it's comparing by exact characters. So all the characters have to be exactly the same. Thus, they do have to be the same length. Once again, you don't always have to print this value. In fact, normally we don't print it. Normally we use this method inside an if statement. So something like if A dot equals B, then you can print something. All right, so normally we see this inside an if statement. And I believe you guys wrote a choose your own adventure game in which we did this. Just a special note that there is another command called equals ignore case, and that one does just as it says. So it will ignore upper and lower case and just determine if the strings are the same. Okay, so you should know about that one as well. Maybe I'll just copy this and I'll put another example in just to show you that this would actually be true. This statement here would be true. It's a Boolean value that it gives you back. And so A dot equals ignore case C would be true. Okay, two more, and they're easy ones. So there's one called toLowerCase, and there's another method called toUpperCase. So if I make a string variable, let's call it D, and this is banana. Okay, and then if I say system.out.println D, okay, again, if I stop there, that would just print banana. But if I said D dot toLowerCase, and you have to put these parentheses, but you don't put anything inside. This is going to... Actually, you know what? This is a bad example. I'm going to put banana with a capital B at the beginning. Okay, so D is a string variable containing the word banana with a capital B. So if I said D dot toLowerCase, then this command, this method, gives me back the lowercase version of this string. So all the characters would be lowercase. All right. So even if I have another string called pear, okay, and if I printed e dot toLowerCase, then that's going to be pair all in lowercase. Okay, and then of course you could use the uppercase version as well. All right, so if I make a string variable f, and this is kiwi, then of course if I said f dot toUpperCase, then that is going to give me back an uppercase version of that string, and then I'm printing it. So that would print kiwi all in uppercase. Okay, one last thing before we go. So here's a little quiz. If I print f right now, what do you think that's going to print? Is it going to print kiwi in all lowercase, or will it print it in all uppercase? Well, it's actually going to print the original one, all lowercase. So this statement right here does not physically change. It doesn't alter variable f. It just for this line, it gets an uppercase version of this, and it prints that version. But this line of code does not change f to all uppercase. Now, what if you wanted it to? If you wanted to change variable f so that it's all uppercase, you would have to say f is reassigned to f dot toUpperCase. Okay, and this would reassign f to kiwi. Okay, so then if you printed this, then it would be all uppercase. Okay, so that's a little trick there. Not really a trick. I mean, we should know that this is the assignment operator, and I'm just reassigning variable f to f dot toUpperCase. Okay, there's a lot there. 4 methods that we learned about, and we will practice these in class. Okay, thanks for watching.